So now that we've pummeled the empire and taken a short artistic break, let's get back to it. NRA, you are this week's lowlife scum.
You low-life scum.
I say this week, but honestly, they've been in the running for that award for a very long time. The pro-gun lobby, spearheaded by the NRA, is the biggest reason why we opt for business as usual in the face of facts like these. That, for example, more preschoolers die from gun violence than cops in the line of duty. Or this one, that over 300,000 people have died due to gun violence in the US in the past decade, compared to just over 300 who have died from terrorist activity. War on gun violence, maybe? Or how about the one that compares us to other nations, including Australia, that instituted strict gun laws after a mass shooting nearly 20 years ago? Or indeed the simple fact that an average of 83 Americans are killed by guns every day. That's one on average every 17 minutes, an average of 609 every week. And that last image brings up an important piece of the pro-gun argument, the Second Amendment. Every time the gun control issue pops up, you get, but the Second Amendment guarantees my right to have all the guns I want. Here's the thing, no, it doesn't. The Second Amendment was written for the purpose of state militias, which were supposed to be used for defense instead of the largest standing army in the history of history. And that's not even including the thousands of fucking mercenaries that we deploy on our various freedom crusades. So much for that defense versus offense idea. Anyway, back to guns. The pro-gun nuts will say, well, it's not just for militias anymore, right? It's so that we can protect ourselves from the government. No, stop it, stop. Thanks to that ginormous standing army, we will never again, ever, ever, ever be in a situation where we can overthrow our government using your fucking handguns, so give them up. If the government wanted to come after you, they wouldn't bother taking your guns away first. They'd do what SWAT teams already do. Shoot you upon entry whilst outfitted in a blend of Kevlar, bullets, and an MRAP. Furthermore, the Second Amendment also includes two words that blow huge holes in the pro-gun argument. Well-regulated. Granted, that shit is slightly vague, thanks James Madison, but its vagueness still means well-regulated. Not kind of regulated, not regulated, but well-regulated. Of course, it's up for debate on how we should regulate guns well, but it's pretty obvious that right now guns are about as well-regulated as honesty on dating sites. Still, it is very possible that we could get some regulation passed if it weren't for the NRA. Yep, the National Rifle Association is one of the most influential organizations on Capitol Hill and is responsible for almost $8 million in lobbying expenditures in 2013 and 14 alone. This year, they've already poured almost $2 million into the federal government, and that obviously influences whether or not we can get to that well-regulated part of the Second Amendment. Particularly when the ones funding the NRA, who is funding our government, are the gun companies themselves. I mean, hell, who wants their bottom line slashed, right? That's not fair, that's not capitalism. So what if there's some collateral damage? That's what makes America great. So of course, the NRA by design is vehemently against anything that resembles well-regulated. And if you follow the money from gun companies to Congress, you'll find little tidbits like a 2013 public integrity investigation showing that of the 46 senators who voted against background checks, 43 had received money from pro-gun interests. That being said, the public integrity investigation also found that money isn't the only power that the NRA wields. The NRA has a rating system for each member of Congress, something that their staunch supporters pay attention to and act on. One senator claimed to have gotten 5,000 phone calls opposing the expansion of background checks ahead of the Senate vote. And this is the point that I really want to leave you with. The people that would rather have mass shootings every day, literally every day, rather than regulate guns, are the people who are voting. They're the ones who are protesting, and I shudder to put it this way, they're the ones acting out. As Greg Lee Carter, professor of sociology at Bryant College and editor of Guns in American Society, put it, the typical person who is for gun control is very different from the pro-gun person. Calling you or being right there, being an annoyance, hassling you personally. They're much more activist than the other side, and that is what really produces their gains. That's what really produces their gains, being an activist. And they might have a slight advantage with the dick sticks currently in Congress, but the bottom line is, if you do something, if you say something, write something, plan something, people and politicians will take notice. You may be disgusted with gun violence, disgusted by the fact that guns enjoy more freedoms than the average woman or minority, but if you're disgusted quietly, in your own home, over dinner, or just talking with friends, you are doing exactly what the NRA and their supporters want you to do. Nothing. So to join the fight against gun violence, check out everytown.org, bradycampaign.org, and csgv.org. Also check out our Facebook page to find simple, factual responses to 10 ludicrous pro-gun myths. And with this, you should have more than enough ammunition to wage a non-violent campaign on the twisted tyrant, lowlife scum, NRA.